Hello, this is Doug at Wood Spun Round again. Was turning another one of my twice turned bowls, one of my cherry bowls that I cored out 8 or 9 months ago. And I've started taking them out and getting a second turn on them. I was doing the third of the 6, and lo and behold, there was a void. I was sitting there, I was just put sanding sealer on here and was going to go through the finishing process with the abrasive paste and the wax or whatever else I chose, and I realized I was seeing a dark spot, and I looked, what in the world is that? As I looked a little closer, I saw shine. It was the shine of the face of one of my jaws, and so it had a little void in there that had just gone through. It's nice and flat back here. It's smooth on the outside. It's pretty nice. It's smooth on the inside. Like I said, abrasive paste and whatever finish I was going to use, but I got to fill that hole now. So I've taken a piece of maple. I had some boards, just some small boards that I've picked up somewhere. Cut roughly a 3-inch square. I found the center. I'm going to put that center on my tailstock, and I'm going to run that up against that chuck, run it up fairly tight. I just checked and made sure my headstock and my tailstock centers were square to one another, and they are. Still standing off to the side. All right, we're close enough. We've got it round. Now the next thing I need to do is take it down to just about the same size as this bearing on my live center. We'll move the tool rest in just a bit. There we go. Now, my vacuum stand is in the way. There we go, that get us started anyway. All right. Just ever so slight dovetail there. Now I can take that out, get my tool rest out of the way. I'm going to get the elbow stabber out of it. There we go. Everything is still proper, exactly the way I want it. We're going to lock that spindle down, open my jaws, put that in. Now close the jaws. Make sure that's in all the way straight, nice and tight. Now just a test fit, nowhere close. And what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to turn a tenon on this side that'll just barely fit inside of here. I believe that's going to work. There you have it. There you have it. So I'm going to glue this up. I'll bring you back. All I'm going to do, I'm going to put some glue around this flat surface here. Actually, I'm going to put the glue on my block and glue it on here. And I'll bring you back here in a little while after the glue has had time to set up and we're ready to continue on with this process. All right, I just wanted to bring you back for just a second. We're not ready to turn yet. I just got it glued in, but I wanted to show you my setup. I got the maple block glued into the bottom of the bowl, put it back in the chuck. I've brought up my block that I use when I reverse turn it. I've put it in there. The inside is just a little larger than what the plug is, and then I've brought my tail center up to put pressure on the bowl, which pushes on the maple block, which is in the chuck. So all we're doing is compressing this right now, just holding it while the glue sets up enough for us to dry. I've got just a tiny bit of squeeze out all the way around. If I unlock that, I can turn it, and I can see I've got squeeze out all the way around. We're in great shape. So I'm going to give this just a little while, and I'll bring you back as soon as this glue has had a chance to dry enough that we can turn it. Bring you right back. Much better. We'll stop it and see what's going on with this transitions point here. Everything looks good. There's still a little gap right there. I'll make one more pass through there. All right, as is kind of normal, it's not as square on this second tenon as it was on its own tenon, which is fine. That's not a problem. And I've got a place right here in the grain. It's a strange little place. I don't know what that is. It has shriveled right in there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with one of my small parting tools, and I'm going to put a couple of parting marks in here that I can come back and fill. A little 1/4 inch parting tool. I'm not going to go real deep, but I'm going to go right on this line, and then I'm going to come into the maple just a little bit. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually I'm going to take the chuck off of the lathe, leave the bowl in the lathe. I don't want to move it. I'll leave the chuck in, or the bowl in the chuck, take the chuck off the lathe. I'm going to fill these 2 grooves with some coffee grounds and some CA, and I'll bring you back here in just a few minutes as we are ready to smooth that out. All right, you can yes, you can see that I've got the coffee grounds in there. The glue has gone off, and then I also sprayed it with the accelerator just to make sure that it had gone. So now it's a matter of sanding. We're going to start with the inertia sander. Much finer dust with that grit. That's the 320 grit. And that's one reason I stop at 320 is because of the dust. If I stop at 320, excuse me, let me blow this out one more time. Blow me a little bit. All right. Put the coffee grounds away. And I dropped them, that's why I put the lid on, because I tend to drop them. All right. That feels so good, and it looks pretty good too. We've blown it out, so the next thing we need to do is to come back with some denatured alcohol. And as we've said before, the point of the denatured alcohol is to clean it out further than what it is. I've already blown it. I've gotten almost all the dust out, but there's a little tiny dust that's down inside of those pores, and the denatured alcohol will take care of those. Almost dry. Just got a couple little spots there. Give my sanding sealer a good shake. This is lacquer sanding sealer, and it's mixed 50-50 with lacquer thinner. 200 RPMs. As wood was bone dry. So this takes, that's one reason I wanted to add the sanding sealer, so it doesn't soak everything directly into the wood so completely. Now this is not the first sanding sealer I put on this. The backside has been coated, then sanded, and coated again. The inside has been sealed twice already. And it's still soaking it in. Soaking it in, which is not a problem. I have no problem with it soaking in. That's the reason I use the sanding sealer. And I've thinned it half and half, and so it soaks in all the better. Some of my friends over in England, well, they know who they are. They're in the same understanding that I am, or same thought that I am. If we thin it, if we thin the sanding sealer, it goes in all the deeper. And when I remember to use it, I tell you what, I get a brighter shine. Even when it's just a wax finish, I get a brighter shine. All right, as you can see, the top side, inside is done. I have gone ahead and done the finish. I didn't bring you back to show you that because we're going to do the same thing on the back side. I'll show you on the back side. This already has a sanding sealer on it. You see a difference between this and the edge of the edge of the rim. That's got some wax on it. But we're going to start off by shaving all of this down, getting a nice curve on the foot. I'm going to take this foot, I'm going to take about half of this maple off, and that will be my foot. I'll probably dovetail it in just a bit, but I'm going to start by taking this part completely off, and we'll work on taking about half of that, of the big part off. A little more speed. 800 RPMs. Then go over to my skew, using it as a scraper. Much better. All right, I want to get this sanded up before I go any further. I'll turn my speed down. Don't have to get any other equipment out. Do it all by hand. It's just a small little area. Don't need 60 grit. Start with 100. Blending this where I cut a while ago. There was a little ridge here that was my intended foot, my original foot, and it had to go, so I had to cut it away. Give this little foot just a little bit of sanding. Tell you what, it makes a big difference when I'm doing this on video when I'm not. Because when I'm not, I got the vacuum on. This is the vacuum right here. You might not be able to see it, but it's sitting right in front of me. Normally I turn it on. It's an old Craftsman shop vac, so it's loud. Been using it for a long time just while I'm sanding. And I checked it today. It doesn't have all that much sanding dust in it. I'm amazed, really. Okay, there's 100 grit. We're going to go to 150 now. And this, by the way, in case you're wondering, I'm turning. The lathe is turning at 445 RPMs. Most of the time, there's not a thing you can do about it. I have worked that with my scraper and then sanded, and it's still there. So I'm not going to worry about it, really. Not too many other people are going to worry about it either. All right, I'm going to keep that 320 handy. Let me blow that off. And it gets 90% of the dust out of the way. Get my denatured alcohol out. We'll give it a wipe down with that real quick. Turn it off and let you get a glimpse of what this is going to look like. That cherry is just absolutely beautiful. This hard maple, I'm surprised how hard it is. I'm not even sure what those boards were. They may have been some shelves, about 12-inch shelves. I don't know. They're going to make some nice turning projects. As you can see there, the grain is just, there's all kind of movement in the grain and color variations. And there is dust on my paper towel, so not a wasted effort. All right, let's get some sanding sealer on that. Yep, before I do that, almost forgot. One more thing I need to do before we get carried away. Take my little 1/4-inch skew and I'm going to put 3 lines on the bottom here. Go. The reason I wanted that 320 out was because I wanted to hit it one more time after I did those lines. In those lines, I will put wood spun round, what kind of wood it is, and a number, just an ID number for myself. Doesn't mean anything, Well, it does. Tells me when I did it. It's my way of knowing what I did, when I did it. All right, turn it off. Spread some sanding sealer around. And oh, how pretty that maple gets. I know this cherry will. Let's see, I'm gonna turn it on real slow here and dribble some on. There we go. Now I can get the rest of it without running the lathe. Just need to get that. There we go. I should not have even touched that outside rim because that's already got wax on it. It's all right, we'll hit it again. All right, give that just a minute. We'll spin it on up to 500. Apply it liberally, but not wastefully. Does that make sense? I want enough to cover it without any problem. I'm not scrimping on it to make it go further. But you don't need, it doesn't need to be caked up on there either. I watched somebody do their abrasive paste the other day, and I was amazed at how much they put on. I couldn't believe it. Don't know how much they edited out, but even with editing, I'm sure it took them, well, what they left in, it took them a while to work it. Okay, we're going to turn this. Okay. 250. Start letting that paste do its thing, just working. And it starts, I sanded to 320. This paste actually starts working at about 240, works its way up to about 1,000 grit. Every time I speed it up, I'm going to change my cloth. I'm going to start working from the center and come out. The idea is that I want to keep going at it until I get no residue. And that will tell me that the grit has done all it's going to do, and that I worked through the oils and waxes that are used as the carriers for the grit. Bit of wax. I honestly thought about oiling this. But when I had the design opportunity with the foot, kind of changed my plans just a bit. Little speckle there of burl, one little speckle. And honestly, that looks like crotch figure right there, but it's not. This was the base of the tree. Like I said, it had been standing dead for quite a while. The owner cut it down, and it had laid in his backyard at the bottom of a hill, right at a ditch line for a year, maybe longer. I cut it, brought it home. It was soaking wet as I cored it. Excuse me. I'm rubbing this wax in until it begins to get tacky. I want to make sure it's in all the crevices and all the pores of the wood. Once it gets tacky, I will go to buffing it. As I speak, as I say that, I'm starting to feel it grab. Not grabbing, but it's not sliding around like it was. So I'm going to turn this paper towel totally inside out. Again, starting on the inside and working our way out. That hard maple again is polishing up very nicely. Not using a lot of pressure. Turn it down. It's 535 there. Get my detail gouge out again. We're going to take this nub off real quick. Bevel rubbing the bottom of the bowl, right hand holding the gouge and my left hand on the stop button. All my pressure's toward the headstock. Okay, just backed off. I want to take some of this out of here. Okay, let's go at it again. There we are. You watch that nub, and as soon as it stops turning or it breaks loose, you are done. So we'll back that off. There's that nub attached to the live center. It will just fall off like that. There we go. And there you have it. Another paper towel just to knock the dust out. They tend to collect dust on the inside when you do that. That's okay. It wipes right out. I can even wax it again. You just do it by hand. I will put my maker's mark here in the center and give that a little hand wax again. Man, that feels good rubbing that paper towel across it. And it feels good on the inside as well. But there you have it. Here's a cherry bowl, turned twice. Design opportunity when a hole developed. A little void showed up. And so I filled it with maple, did the joint line with coffee grounds and CA, and a second line just to set it off. Looks a little more like it's intended. The bottom side, you can see there, nice maple inset into that cherry. Everything has worked out fine. Nice little bowl, and it's a bonus bowl. This is not the big money bowl. The big money bowl is still in the drying bag. So this is just one for this is an extra for me, for our customers. Actually, this one's going to be given back to the people who gave me the log. So there you have it, a cherry bowl, twice turned with a maple inset. Well, this is Doug at Wood Spun Round. Thanks for joining me tonight. I hope you'll come again. Until we get to meet again, I hope you're able to spin them round.